So recently, Viner turned YouTuber turned wrestler Logan Paul has gone viral for buying 2 graded volumes of Shonen Jump, with each of them containing the first chapters of One Piece and Dragon Ball respectively. And the response was, interesting to say the least. So first of all, this isn't the first time he's done something like this, as previously he got into the Pokemon TCG by buying a PSA 10 Illustrator Pikachu card for $5 million, and recently auctioned it off for $16 million. Yikes. That's a lot of money for plastic and cardboard. And then he got into the One Piece TCG by buying a couple of boxes and showing them off in his Bradley Martin vlog where he says Luffy's name wrong.
It was great.
Luffy D Monkey, shout out Luffy.
Monkey D. Luffy.
What?
Monkey D. Luffy.
It's Monkey D Luffy.
Which, to give credit where credit is due, he isn't entirely wrong. As from what I know about One Piece, and we'll get to that in a bit, Monkey is actually Luffy's last name, because in Japan the last name is actually said first. For example, in Japanese, Sakura Haruno would be pronounced as Haruno Sakura. Now most of the time in the localizations, the reverse order isn't kept. But One Piece is a special case where the reverse order is actually kept. So in some weird way, Logan is actually saying his name correctly. Also, upon further research, I realized Dragon Ball also does this as well. For example, Sun is indeed Goku's last name, and not the other way around. So, yeah. And this time he got into the manga scene by buying 2 graded issues of Weekly Shonen Jump. The first one being issue 34 from 1997 with a grade of 9.0 and with a population of 3, which contains the first chapter of One Piece. And the second one being issue 51 from 1984 with a grade of 9.2 and with a population of 1, which contains the first chapter of Dragon Ball. Now he did list the price he paid for issue 51 being $550,000, but he didn't list the price of issue 34 for some reason, though I'm assuming it's somewhere in the sextuple digits. Anyways, the response was overwhelmingly negative, with most people calling him a larper, which is a term I somehow didn't know before the controversy, and even iShowSpeed, which is a YouTuber that I surprisingly don't watch, calling him out, with him getting absolutely ratioed by him. Now before we continue, I'd like to make one thing clear. I've also never watched nor read One Piece or Dragon Ball, so I'm kind of a larper myself as well, as in my channel banner I have Zoro in the corner, even though I have never watched the show nor read the manga, nor even watched the live action show. In fact, there's a bunch of LARPing going on in my banner. But unlike Logan, I at least have some interest in One Piece and to a lesser extent Dragon Ball. In fact, I have some One Piece and Dragon Ball merch in my collection. Granted, it's not a great collection, but still. Plus, I've also seen some anime. Here's all the stuff I've seen so far, and given that I've only been watching anime seriously for less than a year, I think it's a decent roster. Although if we just look at the anime I've finished, then it becomes a lot more embarrassing. Well, the manga is even worse. The only manga I've actually started reading is Spy Family, which is also the first anime that I've properly seen. And as for manga that I own in my collection, I literally only own 1 volume of the Twilight Princess manga for Legend of Zelda. It's not like I don't want to get more manga. It's just that, like, where I live, like Iraqi Kurdistan, I can barely find any legitimate copies of manga. I can only ever find bootleg copies of manga for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess because it would be too expensive to import the manga, so they just have, bootleg copies or photocopied versions of the manga. But still. Granted, I have seen some genuine manga copies in the wild, but none that I really wanted. Anyways, enough yapping, let's continue. Now, Logan's response was by doubling down on it, saying that he's been truly humbled by all the love that he has been getting from the One Piece community, and that he bought a few more rated One Piece items, and got community noted for it because he's been getting the exact opposite of that. And after making that post, he decided to double down on it again by buying 2 more copies of Weekly Shonen Jump issue 34 and getting community noted again. And then he made yet another post, this time pretending that he finally started reading One Piece, but got community noted because he was actually on a page with random advertisements, and that One Piece chapter 1 was the lead story and it came right after the table of content. And then he made one last post, this time calling out Shaquille O'Neal for being a LARPer, even though and of course, that got community noted as well. Now, this isn't the first time a big YouTuber was called out for LARPing One Piece, as back in December 24th of 2025, Mr. Beast made a tweet on
X
saying, should I watch One Piece? I'm scared, it's so many episodes, with a crying emoji. With most people at first welcoming Jimmy, but after he made another tweet on the 31st of that same month, people were not happy because of the fact that he was able to watch 60 episodes in 1 week, which, given his schedule, seems kind of unlikely. And also the fact that he changed his profile picture around the same time, despite the fact that he hadn't watched that many episodes of One Piece to warrant the profile picture change. Now, I won't go into too much detail on the Mr. Beast situation, mainly because that's not what this video is about. But the one thing I'll say is that he didn't deserve all of the criticism that he got from the situation. Okay, he did deserve some of it, like saying that he has watched more anime than most of us normies was a bit much. And also the fact that he was able to watch 60 episodes in 1 week was kind of questionable, mainly because of the fact that he's a pretty busy guy. And so the fact that he was able to watch not only 30 episodes but 60 episodes in a week was kind of questionable, but still, I don't think he deserved all of the criticism. Whereas Logan, I think, did deserve the criticism because of the fact that it kind of seems like he's just doing it for the money. Like, I know eventually he's just going to sell it for way more than he paid for. I mean, that's what he did with the illustrated Pikachu card, like I said earlier in the video. So, yeah. And that is today's situation. Sorry it took me so long to make this video. I actually started working on this video a long time ago, but due to some exams, I couldn't finish it until now. So a lot of the stuff that you heard earlier in the video was recorded several weeks ago, with the last parts of the video being recorded recently. But yeah, this is the first video that I made in this format. I hope you guys like it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know down in the comments. And so yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time, bros.